You've probably heard the chatter, right? That the world of consulting is on its last legs, about to be completely replaced by algorithms and instant data. But you know what? The reality is way more interesting than that. Consulting isn't dying, it's evolving, it's adapting, and honestly, it's getting a whole lot smarter.
So that brings us to the big question, the one that's on everybody's mind. I mean, think about it. When your clients can pull up dashboards and analytics with a single click, what's left for the human expert to do? Is that strategic mind, that human touch, suddenly redundant?
Well, the short answer is a big, resounding no. But, and this is a huge but, the job itself is going through a massive transformation. The rules of the game have totally changed, and the tools we use are being completely rewritten. So let's dive in and break down what's really going on here.
Okay, so this whole shift isn't just happening in a vacuum. It's being driven by a huge change in what clients actually expect from consultants. The old way of doing things? It just doesn't cut it anymore. And to really see why, you've got to look at the gap between what consulting was and what it absolutely needs to be today.
And here's the heart of the issue. There's this massive disconnect. That traditional model, the one built on static slide decks and painstakingly slow manual data crunching, well, it feels like a relic from another era. Today's businesses move at the speed of light, and they expect their advisors to keep up. They don't want to report in 2 weeks. They want interactive data and strategies they can act on, like right now.
So how do consultants even begin to bridge that gap? How do you meet these insane, high-speed demands? Well, the answer isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter with a completely new set of tools. And this is where a really powerful new technology comes into play. It's called visual AI.
At its core, visual AI is the tech that does all the heavy lifting for you. It takes these massive, messy, complex data sets and, almost instantly, translates them into visual formats that we can all actually understand. We're talking about things like trend lines, strategic models, and really clear, logical flowcharts. It's all about making data intuitive.
But here's the really crucial point. This isn't just about making prettier charts. It's about changing the fundamental nature of consulting advice itself. A consultant is no longer just delivering a static report. They're crafting compelling, data-driven stories that clients can see, understand, and act on right in the moment.
Now that all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's take this out of the abstract and get practical. Let's see how these tools can completely transform a day-to-day consulting workflow.
So, picture a marketing consultant working on a brand new campaign. Instead of spending hours drowning in spreadsheets, they just upload the raw data, campaign reports, CSV files, the whole shebang. The AI then instantly generates the key visuals. And here's the best part. Using an interactive whiteboard, they collaborate with the client in real time, tweaking the strategy on the fly until everyone is perfectly on the same page. The whole process just becomes dynamic and incredibly efficient.
And, this dynamic, collaborative approach isn't just a one-trick pony for campaign planning. You have to think bigger. It's powerful enough to handle something as complex as a full brand repositioning, but it's also agile enough to whip up compelling ad visuals in no time. This new class of tools is basically becoming the central command center for optimizing influencer campaigns and mapping out entire content strategies.
So, we've seen the new tools, we've seen the new workflows. But what does it all really add up to? Let's get down to the core benefits, because the payoff for working this way is so much more than just a slicker presentation.
Okay, first and foremost, and this one is a biggie, speed. Tasks that used to take hours, sometimes days, of painful manual labor, things like data analysis, generating reports, creating content, can now be done in a matter of minutes. This isn't just an improvement, it's a complete game changer for productivity.
But this is about so much more than just raw speed. When you let an AI handle the number crunching, you dramatically reduce human error, which means your strategy is built on a rock-solid foundation of data. And maybe even more importantly, when clients can actually see and interact with the process, they're no longer just passive listeners in a presentation. They become active partners, which leads to better buy-in and much, much faster results.
And ultimately, this is where the true value is unlocked. By automating all that low-level data work, consultants are finally freed up to do what they were actually hired to do in the first place, high-level strategic thinking. This creates this incredibly powerful feedback loop. The consultant delivers better insights, the client understands the strategy more deeply, and the entire project just moves faster.
So, when you put it all together, the new client demands, these powerful AI tools, the streamlined workflows, a really clear picture of the future starts to emerge. The consulting industry isn't just trying to survive the digital age. It's being fundamentally reshaped and supercharged by it.
It really all comes down to this. Static presentations, endless spreadsheets, and slow decision-making just aren't good enough anymore. To stay relevant and to deliver real value today, a consultant needs an arsenal of tools built for speed, collaboration, and clarity. That old toolkit, it's officially a museum piece.
And this brings us right back to our initial question. Consulting isn't dying. It's just shedding its old skin. By embracing tools that transform data into dynamic, visual narratives, consultants are evolving. They're going from being simple data analysts to strategic storytellers, which makes them more efficient, more accurate, and ultimately more valuable than they have ever been.
Which brings us to the final and most critical question. This transformation isn't coming, it's already here. The tools are available right now. The only question left is, are you ready to adapt? Is your workflow built for this new, smarter era of consulting?